Hello and welcome to the video, and for this very first idea we are drawing a tropical bird. This could be any tropical bird that you want, and I took some inspiration from this picture. You can get really great inspiration pictures from stock websites, so I found this on unsplash.com. So I'm just going in with the watercolor, and this is just such a fun way to get inspiration, to inspire your own unique character. So you can see that I'm not actually just copying the image. I created my own bird from my imagination, but using a reference image. And that's what I want you to do, because it's a really great practice to not just draw what you see, but take inspiration from what you see. And I find this practice so relaxing and really fun because it's a great way to practice your illustration skills. It's a really fantastic way to improve your skills. So I just let the first layer dry, and now I'm using a mixed medium of pencils and just adding that texture in that you can see on the front of the belly. You can see the feathers, and I'm just adding that fricked texture all over the body. And mixing mediums is such a fantastic way to bring your sketches alive. And before, it just didn't really look like much, but you can slowly see this illustration coming alive as I add the added pencil texture on top, just adding detail where I see best. And tropical birds seem to be such a great topic because they are very colourful by nature. So it really gives you a chance to play with colours, to play with different colour combinations, and also to play with different textures as well, which is what I really loved about this illustration. And just here, even just adding the different colour flicks and just looking at the picture for reference to see how those colors blend is really helpful. Even though I'm making up my own character or my own bird and not copying it exactly, having the reference really helps to make it a little bit more realistic, even though it's not a realistic image, but I want it to have some of those realistic colors and shapes that it should have. Just adding the final touches of the shading, and this is the finished outcome. So I hope you try this idea out. Now the next one is another bird. You can probably see a theme here. I love drawing birds. They're just so colorful. For this drawing idea, I decided to pick a hummingbird. Again, birds are such a great idea, and this time I'm starting with oil pastels and then going on top with watercolors. I really love this technique because, as you can see, the watercolor is being resisted by the oil pastel, so this can be a fun technique. So in the previous bird I used watercolor first and then I added colored pencils on top, but with this bird I'm using those oil pastels to sort of cut out where I want it to be, and those areas it will not have the watercolor because watercolor paint can't penetrate the oil. So for this next one, I'm using my alcohol markers and I am drawing an everyday object that I have at home. Well, maybe not an everyday object. That makes me sound like an alcoholic. But I'm actually just drawing one of the leftover wine bottles from our wedding, We bought a lot of wine for our wedding, so we had some leftover bottles, and I decided to draw it. And this is just a drawing from life, and it's just really great to draw objects that you have around your house. And again, just like the first drawing when I did the bird, I don't know why I forgot the name of it. When I did the bird, I didn't copy it exactly. I made up my own bird, and I'm doing exactly the same thing with this wine. This is a made up wine. I'm creating my own brand. I'm not copying the design. I'm just getting creative. I'm just taking shape, inspiration, so that I can get it looking realistic enough. And then I'm just designing my own label. I decided to add these random houses to the front of it. And I'm just creating my very own illustration from scratch. And that's the fun of it. You should pick an item, draw it in your own style, get creative, change things about it, change the design, change the colors, change anything you want in your design. It's your design and you get to have fun with it. And that's what I love about these drawing exercises. And you can see at the top that I'm just coloring it in. And this is where it got a little bit tricky, because for me, I'm someone who likes to practice and learn how to draw things, but they don't always turn out how you want them to turn out. So I have not practiced drawing reflective surfaces often, so I wasn't really happy with how this turned out. And you can see this is the bottle top. So I was trying to show that it was sort of like a shiny bottle, because you know at the top of wines you have a shiny bottle, and then the rest of it is glass. And I think I should have just left it at this, base pink. But then I decided to try and draw the reflective bits, and it just didn't work. I just didn't like the dark elements that I added to it. But it's all okay. That's the whole point of exploration, is that you learn from your mistakes and you see different things and see whether or not you like it or not. So that's what I learned from this experience, and I hope that in the future, when I'm drawing something reflective or transparent, I can learn how to draw it better. So the next drawing idea is a wine glass, and I know there's a theme. I don't always do wine, but I was just trying to draw different objects around my house, and I definitely recommend you try that out, because it is such a great experience to just draw random objects that you have. So I had a glass of wine here, so I was using watercolor to show this. And I felt a little bit happier about how this one was rendered. It wasn't exactly perfect, but I did like it because it still had a really nice feel to it. It really had the reflective kind of look that I wanted it to have. and even though it wasn't perfect, it looked pretty good in my eyes. So definitely try out just drawing any glasses with a drink in it, and that can be a really fun drawing idea, and it can be really nice and very challenging for you, or it could push your skills. It can get you to draw something that you're not used to drawing. Moving on to the next design, I was really feeling like playing with pastels, and you can just have fun with different mediums. So for this drawing idea, I recommend trying to do a side profile. It could be perfect if it's just a random character that you draw, or it could even be a self-portrait. I think this was somewhat of a self-portrait slash character. It's not exactly me, but it could be someone else or someone who's like me. So I wanted to experiment with the oil pastels. I really loved how the oil pastels resisted the watercolors in the hummingbird coloring challenge. So I wanted to bring that technique into this piece as well. And I'm just really trying to add accessories, make it look cute, and just make up a character. So this was completely from my imagination. She is very cute. I'm not really sure who she's supposed to be, but I just wanted to make this fun looking character. And I am happy with the way that she came out. The next drawing idea is a house. So I started off with a sketch first. This was a little bit more detailed than any of the previous drawings I have done in this entire video. But I think it's also important to add more detailed pieces as well as the quicker pieces that you can do in 10 or 20 minutes. So I think this one took me about an hour and a half. So I just sketched it out and I just wanted it to have a little bit of Studio Ghibli vibes. So I just drew a very cute house and I wanted to use watercolor with it. So I was making sure to map out all the areas that I wanted to add detail to. And then I went in with the sky. I wanted it to have a really nice light blue color in the background and then have that sort of like that airy sort of iridescent kind of feel in the background. And I'm playing with these new watercolors that I got on Amazon, and that so far they are pretty good. I'm really happy with the color payoff. I had some more expensive Winsor and Newton watercolors, but because they're so expensive I could only get the 14 palette, and that's just not enough colors. Of course, I know you can mix lots of colors, 14 colors, but I wanted a palette that had even more colors that was already pre-done, and I didn't want to spend lots of money. So I found this really affordable watercolor set on Amazon, and that's what I'm using in this video. I can't give you a review yet because I really just want to test it out a little bit more. But if you do want a review, do let me know in the comments below, and just comment review if you want to know about these watercolors. So with these watercolors, I was just really playing with different techniques and making sure to let the colors really bleed, really heavily loading my brush with water and seeing how it responds. And I haven't used watercolor as much, so I'm really just trying to get that sort of control and the effects that I want, and the darkness and lightness, and the way that the paint responds to how heavy or how light you press with the brush. And that's what I was really experimenting with right here. And it can be really fun to just create a drawing from a place you've been, or an imaginary place in your imagination. This drawing in particular was a mix between, again, imagine my imagination plus a real place that I'd actually been. And I think that's a common theme throughout this entire video, that I took lots of different reference photos and just created my own design or own creation from it. And this was based on when we went to Seven Sisters, and we stayed in a very, very cute cottage. And this wasn't the cottage that we stayed in, but it was across the road from us, and I took a picture of it from the window. And this was heavily inspired by that picture. It looked very, very whimsical. It looked very, very cute. But I drew it in my own style, and I changed some things to make it more Studio Ghibli-esque. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've enjoyed vibing with me. I hope you've enjoyed coloring along or creating along with me, and I hope you've gotten some inspiration from this video. If you found this video valuable, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos like this.